voice of Master Chief, Spartan 117. Welcome to Quality Time, the KO Koala Entertainment Podcast. Anthony and Skylar will take it from here. Master Chief, out.
Hello and welcome to Koalatea Time, the KO Koala Entertainment Podcast. I'm Skylar Sokol.
I'm Anthony Nicolosi.
And today, inspired by Anthony's drive home and a conversation we had earlier, we will be talking about how much people play games, how long people waste their lives playing games, and maybe some data about the ways they waste their lives playing games.
Because, Skylar, Fox News tells me kids play 200 hours of games a week.
And Fox News would be correct. Just kidding. Fox News would not be correct. In fact, as just to cite our source, the majority of our data for this podcast will come from a 2021 report by Limelight Networks called The State of Online Gaming 2021. So,
boom.
First, let's just talk about how much time people spend playing games per week. All right? Okay. Interestingly, this report split it among a bunch of different countries. And now I would just be curious. All right, so our countries are China, Germany, India, Indonesia, South Korea, UK, US, Vietnam. All right? So 8 countries. Okay. Where do you think the US ranks? With a 1 being the most games per week.
And this counts mobile gaming.
I think this is any type of gaming, yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be surprised, so I'm going to say 6th.
Is that why? Are you just, you think you're like, is that like you yes. manipulating based on my question?
Here, okay, let me use my brain about it. Americans work way too much and don't have enough time to play, so I'll put them in 6th.
So they are in, hold on, I'm doing some math. There's a lot of decimals here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are in 5th.
So
oh, no, wait, that's wrong because I counted that. So wait, 1, 2. Oh, no, 5. 5th, yeah, 5th. Number 1 is our boys of the East, China, at 12.4 hours per week average.
I mean, you can't criticize the government if you're playing video games.
But 12.4 is pretty crazy because the global average...
That's fucking insane. Oh, a week.
A week. The global average, though, is 8.45 hours per week, which means that they play almost 50% more games on average than the global average, which is crazy. The U.S. is at 7.71, actually below the global average.
Interesting. That would mean that they're approaching an average of like 2 hours a day in China.
If you're playing 12 hours a week, yeah. No, 2 hours per day is 14 hours. They're close, yeah. They're at like 1.8 hours per day,
right?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, that's a nice chunk.
That's
a nice chunk. You know what you're not going to get this in a survey like that. It'd be interesting to see like how much time they spend watching TV and shows, how much America does, right? Like meaning how much, what percentage of their entertainment time in their lives are consumed with games, you know?
Yeah. That's an interesting point, right? Maybe in America, we consume entertainment more, but it's just games make up a smaller proportion. That is an interesting thought.
Now, and we have good shows and all that stuff. Easy access to those shows. We don't have to do any kind of VPNing.
That's true. One more interesting fact before we move on to the next topic: South Korea actually only plays 5.88 hours of gaming a week.
What the
they
fuck?
They have the lowest in this list. Which is interesting.
I would not have guessed that.
Me neither, especially because South Korean esports is like one of the most well-known esports scenes in the world. 5.88 hours and they're all StarCraft, as Rollick says in the chat. If you don't know, we stream this podcast every week. Come to our Twitch. My name's Anthony Nicholas.
Yes. Right now we are streaming live on Twitch. Every week. Come. It's fun.
Now,
chat's talking to us.
Next question.
Okay.
Age groups that play games per week, hours per week. We have 18 to 25, 26 to 35, 36 to 45, 46 to 60, and 60 plus. What are the top 2 highest here? Or top?
Shit,
what's the
man.
top? What's the top? Don't do top 2. I'll just give you the deets after you tell me the top.
one that ends in the 45s.
So 36 to 45 is the highest. That is correct. 9.26 hours per week on average. 36 to 45-year-olds play video games.
Say that again. How much?
9.26.
Okay.
Coming close second is 26 to 35. And then in third is actually the 60-plus group.
Oh, shit. Are they counting here like Sudoku?
They're counting. No, this is just video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, video games. So, I mean, mobile games obviously make up a huge portion for that group. But, yeah. And then, actually, the lowest is 46 to 60. And then 18 to 25 is the second to lowest. 18 to 25 only at 7.97 hours per week. Over an hour average less than our age group.
So a conversation we were having earlier today was about how like the media coverage of gaming activity is really not representative of the average of the norms.
No, and this shows that for sure. Like I would have never expected these kinds of results here.
Yeah, so a conversation we had not too long ago about the Steam Deck, and we were talking about like who the fuck is this thing for, and we brought up the fact that there were people on Twitter who are like, gamer dads who are like, I'm just trying to like, and I'm sure gamer moms out there who are trying to just sneak in gaming in between dealing with life. They're going to be in that demographic that is first place there.
Well, and the reality, right, is that first place demographic, 36 to 45, is basically at the dawn of video games. They were the people who grew up with the first video games, which probably explains why 46 to 60 has the lowest, because they were the generation right before video games. So they're probably the most grumpy about it.
Those are the boomers, right?
No, they're right before the boomers.
Oh, okay.
60 plus is the boomers. They don't know what's going on around. They just want to play Candy Crush.
It would be so interesting if maybe there's data on this later on, like really what's the most popular platform for gaming in all those demographics.
Yeah, we'll see if we get there. That will be really interesting.
Yeah, my guess is because they're including mobile and how how everyone has phones, that somehow that's going to sneak to first probably everywhere. But yeah.
So
anyway, interesting. Okay.
One that we're going to just gloss over real quick, but I want to mention female versus male, actually almost identical average hours per week. Male at 8.5, female at 8.4. So pretty much as close as you can get without being exactly the same. I don't think that's surprising. We've seen a huge rise in female gaming over the last probably decade. Not well publicized, but nowadays there's no difference.
Another thing that's interesting to point out, we talk a lot about how especially games with substantial budgets focus on polish a lot of times over game design, gaming elements that are maybe more risky to put in the game. If you think about it from these demographics, the top 2 demographics are, generally speaking, I would say pretty solid money-making individuals in society. They are at the ages where they probably have their own jobs, blah, 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 blah. And so maybe that's another reason why you focus on those elements, because those kinds of people, especially with the rough average amount of hours they have a week, they might be going for that more polished, consumable, accessible, not too crazy kind of experience. And so that's where you put your money. I'm not sure.
So next
speculation.
We have our how many hours based on what kind of gamer you would classify yourself as. Either
a week?
Yeah. Either an aspiring professional, an expert, a casual gamer, or a novice gamer.
Okay.
Now, I think these stats come basically as expected, that aspiring professionals play the most by far. The majority of aspiring professionals play more than 20 hours a week. Majority of experts.
Are you asking me, or are you?
No, I'm telling you. Experts are 12 to 20 hours. Casual gamers are 7 to 12 hours. Novices are less than that. Right? It literally goes just like you'd expect. So this isn't that interesting of statistic, but it does confirm what we would think is the statistic.
Yeah. And what the fuck? I'm a novice per those?
No, a novice only plays plays less than 1 hour a week or 1 to 2 hours a week on average.
Oh, okay. So I'm probably, what's the other one? Casual?
7 to 12 hours a week.
I don't feel like I hit 7.
4 to 7 hours a week also falls into casual, and 2 to 4.
Okay.
I'm probably an expert. I probably play at least 12 to 20, maybe more than 20.
Ha!
Okay.
Well, and you got to include your arcade times.
No,
too.
yeah, true. I probably play 20 plus.
Yeah.
So now this is interesting. Going from average time per week, we are now going to talk about average, or the longest, your average longest consecutive playing session. So basically the question is, what is your longest consecutive playing session? And then they averaged everyone's answer. No, just ever.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, like how long you spend binge gaming, basically.
The longest you've ever spent binge gaming.
That's what it's. Yeah, what is the longest you have ever consecutively played video games at one time?
Okay.
I think. What's your answer? I'm curious. I think mine is consecutive with, like, I would say, like, besides bathroom breaks and maybe eating while playing, that has to, like, you have to count, right? You can go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Mine's definitely 12 to 24 hours, but I don't know if it's more than that.
I mean, when a new Halo comes out and I don't have work, I'm playing that shit all day. But I mean,
all day is only like 12 hours, right?
I mean, but I'm like more than 12.
Okay.
Like I would say that I'm playing at like 14 hours in that day at least.
So like 14, 15. So you'll be surprised to know that the US average and the general global average as well, the US average is the highest at 6 hours.
Okay.
The global average is 5.1 hours. So
interesting. So Americans don't play as often, but when they do, they play.
They binge more. Exactly. Very interesting. And 1 in 10 people in the US have played more than a 15-hour session. 1 in 10 gamers, in the US have done more than a 15-hour session. The next highest is Germany with only 7.4% doing more than 15 hours. South Korea, again, coming in at the lowest for average binge gaming hours at 3.6 hours, being their average longest consecutive gaming session.
I take shits longer than that.
This South Korea data is actually really interesting because that's not a place I'd expected to be so disciplined with their gaming.
Why would they not? I can't. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with South Korean culture.
Yeah, right? I don't know.
Even like hypothesize.
Is it a political thing? Is it an accessibility thing? Like maybe they have to be at LAN cafes so they can't really afford to be there. I don't know.
Yeah, is internet shit?
Right.
So. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a curious one.
Anyway, also to note, a lot of the stuff in this survey is also covering the difference between 2020 and 2021, which is interesting, right? Because there was COVID. And quarantine. True. So a lot of these numbers have increased way more significantly than they normally do.
Americans not even playing games during COVID. Come on, guys.
Now, let's see what else we get. We have binge gaming based on age. It just goes literally from the youngest to the oldest. Their binge gaming sessions reduce in time. Not surprising that the young people are able to play games for longer sessions.
Yeah. I'm seeing that. The 18 to 25-year-olds averaging 5.9 hours of binge gaming and make your way all to the 60 plus averaging 4.3 hours. That's still, dude, if my fucking grandpa put in like 4 hours playing.
Wait, what do you mean? Your parents, dude? Are your parents over 60?
Oh. No, my parents aren't over 60, but they
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, my parents are. I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it's like 56.
Okay, so they're close.
Ish. Yeah, they're getting there. But like, yeah. I actually, in a weird kind of way, would more expect my grandparents to binge a game more than my parents.
That's interesting. That's very funny.
Anyway,
the next stat is male versus female gamers in this category.
Okay.
Male gamers under 45 play more than female gamers in their binge sessions, but females over 46 play more than males. Which is interesting because when I think about my mom, who plays a lot of mobile games, she definitely plays way more mobile games than my dad.
Right.
But at least for under 45, and it's not that different, right? For like the 36, for the 26 to 35 group, the group we're in, it's only a 0.7 hour difference. So it's not like it's a huge average difference.
Right. It's
Anyway,
so interesting though. Yeah.
and then
I could hypothesize, but totally out of my ass.
right.
You know, like men are looking for that visceral, what's it called, workstation-like experience, and as they get older, they just can't keep up with the kids.
Yeah, at risk
and
of
so they just turn.
Activision Blizzarding, I feel like you shouldn't make theoretical propositions about gender differences in gaming.
Yes, everyone know that is a joke. I'm just lightheartedly
For legal
joking.
reasons, that's a joke.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
The next
Now I'm gonna
statistic,
get
not
fucking
very
DMCA.
interesting. We're gonna move right past it, which is that aspiring professionals obviously play longer binge sessions than novices down that list. Wow,
my God,
what a surprise
God.
that the people who do it full time do 8.5 hours on average binge gaming probably every day.
I remember one time Squishy Muffins was talking about in his stream about how if he plays it, like playing less than 50 hours of Rocket League a week is absolutely unacceptable, and 50 is considered like bad. You shouldn't do that often. It's got to be 60 to 80. That's the norm.
Crazy, dude. Yeah,
60 to 80 hours of Rocket League a week, and I'm like sitting there and I'm thinking, like, have you ever seen that meme where like there's a really fit guy at the gym and you're like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, you're already done. Like you that's like what it feels like to me. I'm like, what's Squishy playing 60 hours a week for?
Right.
Like, he's already got it.
That's a good point. All right. So next we get to the conversation you wanted to have: platforms and platforms of gaming. Don't spoil yourself, because then I can't give you quizzes.
I don't know where I am at. So
all right, we're on page 9, but just don't go there yet.
Okay.
All right. So, what do you think is the most popular gaming platform?
I think it's mobile.
It's mobile. It's mobile.
Yeah,
by
if
a
we're
fuck
talking
ton.
global.
By a fuck ton.
Yeah.
Mobile.
And this is why, again, just to back up the answer that we gave to Dash at, I think it was last episode or the episode before, about why cloud streaming is so important into the future strategy of these games and why I think it's going to take over the casual market. These people are maybe struggle. People in not the United States don't like console gaming and stuff is not as accessible in other countries as it is here.
Absolutely.
And in those other countries, phones are more commonplace than games. So if you can host the gaming experiences in the cloud and stream them to people's phones, you all of a sudden open up huge markets, way bigger than the existing console.
Demonstrating this concept, we see that mobile games, especially in India, Indonesia, and Vietnam, are the largest on this chart, and South Korea, thoroughly outweighing their counterparts in the other platforms.
So South Korea is the most like workstation-y, is what you're saying?
No, it's the most mobile-y.
Oh, got it.
Like these places that have less accessibility are known for it. It's what you're saying. They play on mobile.
Right.
Now, interestingly, what do you think is second? By the way, our categories are PC gaming, console gaming, tablet gaming, and mobile phone gaming.
Tablet gaming?
PC Master Race.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's two. This is, by the way, the question is how much of your total time playing video games per week is spent on these various platforms. The answer for mobile is 2.4 hours a week, and then PC gaming is 1.8 hours a week. Console is 1.4 hours a week, and tablet is 1.3 hours a week.
Okay. Yeah, I was mainly just going from, again, a similar notion of the proliferation of hardware.
Yeah, I think tablets are just way less accessible, and not that many people own tablets anymore. At least
I get
less.
I guess I'm overestimating their reach.
I also think that this might play into what I was talking about before with LAN cafes, because in a lot of these foreign countries, LAN cafes are very big for gaming, and those are PC gaming, right? So that could be a reason why some of these other countries, like India and Vietnam, for example, do more PC gaming than any other country, 2.1 hours a week.
Well, now I'm thinking to
and
myself,
they have tons of LAN cafes in India, and LAN cafes are huge in India.
I just don't feel like LAN cafes on their own are going to make a sizable dent against. I guess if the next one's console, like maybe, but I was thinking that they're probably counting browser games in here, right? Because
possibly,
like, if you have a
I would think that a browser game would count, but I don't think people play browser games that much anymore.
Like if you have a Chromebook and you play games on that, that would count, I think, as PC.
I guess, but I mean, if you played like through Amazon, whatever, through Luna or something in the browser, but the days of Flash games are dead. People don't play games in the browser unless they're like Facebook.
I guess the thing I'm like I'm so surprised because I'm thinking like in my head, well, you know, if these questions were about like the United States, the UK, and I don't know,
we can talk about the U.S., right? In the U.S., it's actually a tie between PC gaming and console gaming at 1.5 hours a week.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And in UK actually console gaming is ahead, 1.7 to 1.4.
Interesting.
So actually, the reasons that PC Master Race is winning here are because of the large skew from Vietnam, India, and South Korea and China. Actually,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't even make any bullshit speculations in that one. I'm surprised. I thought that the other things would be like I just in my head I feel like PC gaming is a more significant investment than these other ones, and so I would have guessed the more accessible option would have been more prevalent. So I'm surprised.
I mean, I think I really am gonna stand by this LAN cafe strategy until we hear or this LAN cafe theory
until we hear otherwise.
Else. Yeah.
I mean, people do like everyone needs a computer. So if regardless of how good your computer is, if you do any kind of gaming on it, I could see how it could
especially
help,
if
help those
there
numbers.
are casual games that run on basically any computer.
Right.
And
Minecraft.
As we learn in the next section, what is the most popular type of game, genre of game? We have casual single-player games like Candy Crush or Clash of Clans, casual multiplayer games like Words with Friends, FPS, single-player role-play games like Skyrim, MOBAs, MMOs, and battle royales.
I cheated a little bit because I accidentally opened to this answer. Okay. I think.
Well,
I think it's a casual single player
is the first, and not surprising because mobile is the most, right? And the most games people play on mobile are casual single player.
If you include games like that, yeah.
Now, if we're talking about, let's ignore casual single player games and casual multiplayer games, which are majority mobile. Then what do you think is next?
Oh shit!
I'll tell you, you'll be happy.
FPS.
Let's
go.
Yeah, FPS, then MMO, then single-player role-play games, then MOBAs, and then Battle Royale.
Let's go. That's what I like to hear. Nobody likes Battle Royales. Yeah. Get that shit out of here.
Except for China. It looks like China really likes Battle Royales, actually. They have 90% of people's time on average. 89.8% is spent playing Battle Royale games, whereas in the US it's 46.6%. So almost double the amount of time in China playing Battle Royales than in America.
I mean, yeah, dude.
And maybe that's because these other countries didn't get all the Battle Royales like when we did. So Battle Royales maybe are still popular there. Maybe they didn't have them all and they've gotten more of an influx later.
I know, talking to my family in Argentina, a lot of times the way like popular things will kind of circulate is like, oh, it was popular in the United States. Well, then like however many months later it gets to Argentina, and then it's like, oh, it's the hot shit. Here's the American thing that everyone's been talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, yeah, it could be some of that. I don't know if I think about it. I'm not sure if I'm that surprised by FPS being first place. I the only thing I would have expected was like some insane MOBA overtaking, because I totally underestimate how many people play MOBAs or something. But
MOBAs are high, but yeah, FPS. I mean, FPS is at 74.2%, and MOBA is at MOBA is at 68.3%. So it's a big difference. Anyway, that's that. We also have that divided by age group. That same statistic. I'm going to just look at it and see if it's interesting. Casual single-player games still in first, but younger people prefer first-person shooters and battle royales. Older people show a clear preference for casual single-player games.
Okay.
So, yeah, not surprising.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, this is interesting. Something that a lot of adults I talk to don't understand at all is the appeal of watching people play games.
Yeah.
Like, I talk to people all the time who are like, how could you ever watch someone play a video game? I'm like, you watch fucking football like 8 hours a day.
You watch fucking golf.
Yeah, right. And
You
they're
watch
like,
golf.
and some people don't even see the difference, you know? And so this is actually a question about how many hours each week do you do the following: watch other people play video games online, watch esports, watch traditional sports on television, or watch traditional sports online.
I'm like so interested in these.
This is really interesting, right? So
what page are you?
We're on page 11, that bottom.
Okay.
Let's talk about the U.S. first. Let's try and figure out the U.S. So the U.S. loves fucking sports, dude, right? Like, of course.
Yes.
And it shows here 3.9 is the average hours per week watching traditional sports on television. And then sports online is even higher still than the gaming values.
Yeah,
than esports or
hours.
YouTube. Yeah, so crazy. YouTube and esports being at 2.3 and 2.0. So sports still triumphing in the U.S., unfortunately,
sports
and
is
in the
such
UK.
A huge part of American culture.
Even more in the UK. Look at that. I mean, UK has soccer and all that, right? So of course the UK is going to be huge as well. UK at 3.9 and 2.4. Or sorry, 3.7 and 2.6 for sports, and 1.9 and 1.5 for gaming.
Comparing that to the 2.3. Yeah, watching other people play video games is like Twitch or YouTube gaming. That's that first number, which for the UK is 1.9. Watching esports tournaments, the next one at 1.5. Compare that to the United States, 2.3 hours of Twitch, 2.0 watching esports.
And then
surprisingly low in the UK.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm surprised it's that low.
Now,
it's
interestingly,
like the lowest one. I'm looking at it.
You know what's crazy here? Aside from India, who looks like they just watch a fuck ton of shit because all of their numbers are over 5 hours a week.
Yeah, what the fuck? If India's watching other people play Twitch, 5.3 hours.
Yeah,
watching
they're all 5
hours
5.5
plus. Watching traditional sports, 5.8. These guys just leave their TV on and watch whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Traditional sports online, 5.4. That's
now,
crazy.
the most interesting thing I'm gleaning from this chart is actually back to our boys in South Korea. They are the highest hours per week watching other people play games.
Not only that, but they are also beating sports in that regard.
Right. One of the only countries in this list to beat
Indonesia
sports.
is also beating sports. I'm looking here.
Yeah. It's just those two, though.
Yep. Ooh, China even. China is even.
China's even. Communism really does that to you.
If you consider, yeah, all the sports teams are even. Nobody wins. Watching esports tournaments in China is 3.9 hours.
Yeah, significantly higher than all the other non-India countries. So
yeah,
China really likes esports. And I will tell you,
yep.
At the International, when I went, and it was China versus the U.S., you want to know which team had the louder, more enthusiastic, more passionate audience, even though they only took up one section of the stadium while the entire rest of the section was the U.S.?
Gotta be China.
Those China fans go fucking hard, dude. That nationalism will get you. Hardcore. Hardcore.
All right. Well, the numbers are backing that up.
Really interesting. Now, I think this is going to be maybe the least surprising, more unsurprising data that young people tend to watch video games more often than sports, and old people tend to watch sports more often than video games.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see the Limelight Network's 4021.
Right.
I'm sorry, 2041. Article and spreadsheet, because as our generation, as the generation under us start to grow up, this stuff is all changing. Of course. You constantly see the NBA finals. I think today it was the Olympics. Whoever NBC or whoever was showing it was talking about how a huge drop in viewership. Whatever, blah blah blah. The younger generation is just different game. Just different game.
Yep.
Different reality.
So the most interesting fact from this table, though, our table of ages watching games over sports, is the 36 to 45 group. The group that plays the most video games still watches more sports than games. It's only the group below them where games take over. So interestingly, even though they're playing the most video games, they're just playing fucking Candy Crush while they're watching football. They're not playing, right?
Could be.
Yeah, interesting. This next chart, I don't find.
I wonder if
interesting,
does fantasy football count as mobile games?
No way.
I wouldn't think so.
No. Now, interestingly, I'm going to skip the next chart. It's kind of silly, but the next one after that is female versus male watching sports versus games. Now, I think the most interesting aspect from this chart is that females consistently watch the least traditional sports of either gender always, and I think that's totally reasonable based on how male-dominated sports are. But also, females prefer esports and others playing online, or females prefer more esports than males do.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Like they prefer it over sports more? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. I guess I'm not.
Data's a little unclear.
Yeah, it's a little hard. Anyway.
It's worded a little weird.
It's fine. Let's skip. Let's move on. To does game performance matter? Do people care if your game is good quality? I know you and I care, but do people actually care?
Well, and we even care about different facets, I think, more than, you know?
Yeah. So this is gamers rated the importance of various aspects of playing video games. And this is people ranking the importance of each aspect of gameplay. So the most important aspect globally is fast performance.
Interesting.
Followed by, and I'll also read these as we go so we can hear all the different options. So we have fast performance, followed by interesting storyline, followed by regularly updated content, followed by interacting with other players, followed by playing the game while disconnected from the internet, offline gameplay, a hot button topic sometimes, and then gameplay being simple, being the least important thing.
Interesting.
That is interesting, especially because these are even mobile gamers saying this, right?
Fast performance is extremely important in my Clash of Clans.
Yeah, like its performance is the most important thing to everyone, is how well the game performs.
Yeah. I'm so proud of this gamer community.
I'm actually proud too. Yeah.
I was waiting for I'm actually surprised that regularly updated content was
fourth.
Over. Are you sure it was over interacting with others?
Oh no, sorry. That's a 6 and not a 9. Yeah, third.
Yeah, like I would have thought interacting with others is more prevalent. Fast performance, an interesting storyline. I think one thing that I'm constantly surprised by when we do Instagram polls or Discord polls is how much people care about stories. Because every now and then, especially recently the Sony
wait.
studios.
Actually, I think we might be wrong. Well, I'm reading the summary of the data at the top, and it doesn't align with what I'm seeing in the actual data. So I'm
looking at the data. I'm looking at your chart right now, and you were right. You know what you said was correct based off this chart. I don't know what they're saying somewhere else in this document.
Right. That's okay.
But
I do see it. The values in China and Vietnam skew the data a lot. Let's talk about just the U.S. Simple gameplay.
Okay.
Is actually in third now. It goes performance.
Good performance is still first.
It goes performance, offline play being the second most important thing. Fucking Americans being idiots. Simple gameplay, then regular content updates, then story, and then multiplayer. Oof. U.S. not doing good for us. I'm not impressed. UK, Links Potter wants to know. UK values fast performance the most, then simple gameplay, then storyline, so a little better than the U.S., then offline play, and then regularly updated content. Interesting.
Okay. I mean, what I was saying earlier, our fan base is technically pretty distributed across United States, Canada, UK. We have some members from all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm always surprised by how much the answers talk about how they value the story, like that being the stories are so important. And how they even would take it over a multiplayer experience a lot of times.
And that does relate to this data. Multiplayer actually being one of the least important things in most of the countries that we generally relate to. UK and US, that being significantly lower than the next highest thing.
I'm still so surprised interacting with others is so low. Oh, never mind. I almost read the
and it's only that low really in the US and the UK. In the other countries, it's much more comparable. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's true. In the other countries, it's
between
all
30 and 40% for all of them, and in the
United
U.S.,
States
UK,
and UK are freaking 15 and 17%.
yeah, crazy. Very interesting.
Yeah.
We got to give our boys in China props, though. They're the only people who put interesting storyline at the top.
Okay.
And interestingly, China regular content updates are the second most important thing, which I guess makes sense because if you really care about story, you're really going to care about story DLC. So regularly adding more story to a game, I can see why that would be more important, right?
Right.
Yeah, interesting. That's some interesting data right there. And I guess it's very funny that China at the lowest is offline play because of their government, I'm assuming that they're so used to everything being online anyway, not really being able to disconnect due to censorship and stuff, that probably that's not really something they even think is an option.
Yeah, no, as I was saying, I was surprised about stories. I'm also surprised, in the Halo community, this has been a big thing about being able to play things offline, and it's weird to me. I don't understand. I don't understand the problem with needing too much. I can I get if you're a person who wants to play multiplayer all the time and your internet blows, I can understand being upset with the frustration with having poor connection there and not being able to play that. But if you're playing a campaign, yeah, sure. Especially if the majority of the campaign's processing is local and you're not you don't even have a server connection, it's maybe just used for some bullshit login thing. I can understand that's frustrating, but do you really not have internet that you can't ping Xbox Live and sign in?
I think I think in America and UK these conspiracy theories about your privacy being fucked if you're always online are really the things driving these countries over other countries which don't have these kinds of conspiracy theories so rampant.
Yeah. We're halfway through this. Should we cut it and do a part 2? This is pretty interesting.
I'm going to do a part 2. I was going to try and skip the stuff that seemed important, but I'm totally down to just cut it and do a part 2. That sounds great. Let's do that.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting.
Let's do part 2 next week for this.
Right on. Well, okay.
All right.
If you're listening to us right now, thank you for listening to us. Like we said earlier, we stream this live every week on Twitch. You can find us at KOKoala_ENT on all our social media. So Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. And you can find links to all these things as well at kokoalaentertainment.com. There, very importantly, you can find links to our Discord. If you are listening
Discord,
to this,
get in it.
Yes, 8/14, we are going to be launching trivia giveaways, a big update to Parthenon that will allow people to enter these substantial giveaways. $50 gift card, your choice of $50 gift card plus your choice of merch.
Doing 2 of those, Saturday and Sunday.
2 of those, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and every day up to that point. We're going to be giving away, in fact, right after the stream, we're going to be giving away $10 gift cards to everybody who's over level 4 in our Discord. Come join our Discord, find out about this idle game, Agora, Parthenon, that involve the lore of our upcoming game for Xbox and PC. That's now, right. I mean, if it gets on Game Pass, you can play it on mobile too. All of you large demographics out there.
True.
So
now,
anyway,
I have to remind you that we do have a quality time question for the podcast today.
I see.
Quick question is quote. Quick question, which means we got to make it quick because he asked for it to be quick. Is replayability important?
I'm assuming to us.
To us, I'm assuming is what he's asking too. I think in general, a lot of people believe replayability is important, but I think for this, let's focus on how we feel about it. So for me, it's a super it depends kind of question. For a narrative-based experience that the whole point of the experience is the story and experiencing this journey. For example, What Remains of Edith Finch, BioShock Infinite, Death's Door, the game I'm currently playing on stream, Outer Wilds. I don't care. No, replayability does not matter to me at all in those cases. I just want to experience a really good story, and if I'm done with the game after that, then that's great. And I'm usually going into those games expecting that anyway. Now, if the game's like a roguelike, that shit needs to be replayable because that's literally the whole point of a roguelike, right?
That better be replayable.
Yeah, right. And for I think multiplayer games in general, replayability is important to me if they're not story-based games. For competitive multiplayer games, that's where replayability matters for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also a it depends kind of person. I wish more games weren't replayable, honestly. I wish more
so
games
you could move
would be
on.
like they just be like, you know what? We made this game so that it's like a great weekend long experience for you and that you have a great experience playing it during that weekend and that's all you got to do. Like I was like thinking about how I could break this up more. The thing I hate, the thing I fucking infuriates me is when the way you have fun in our game is after significant replayability, if that makes sense. Like replayability isn't a reward of good, intriguing design that I want to come back to. It's a fucking job that I have to sign up for your damn game, kind of a thing.
Yeah, Sean's saying in the chat that when Sean and I played Resident Evil 8, we did 2 like 4 to 5 hour sessions and we were done with the game and it was perfect. Like it was such a good experience. We never neither of us feels like we need to play it ever again and it was just great. And it was like the perfect length. Like and we don't need more. Like it was good.
Yeah. Boom. That's all it needs. Now, if I want it, like Halo Infinite's multiplayer's got to be replayable because I am actively looking to spend thousands of hours on it.
Nope, no. If you get one NFT for one game and once it's spent, you're done. You have to buy a new NFT if you're gonna play the next round.
That would be so interesting. The only way you can like get into
pay
a
per
multiplayer
round.
like queue, pay per round, and you auction it, and a percentage of your auction goes to charity. Fucking, can you imagine if like if that's how everyone queued into games, like everyone, no more poverty anywhere in the world.
You just buy a ticket for each game you play. Yeah, each Rocket League game you queue to, you pay like 5 cents.
If you, dude, 5 cents is a lot. I was even gonna say like 1 cent. If you just had every time you played a matchmaking game, you actively contributed 1 cent towards some charity, and everyone collectively did it.
Damn. Right, like everyone's required to put like $5 into the game, into their bank of the game, and then it just pulls their charity from there. Yeah. And then once you exhaust that $5, maybe you don't have to pay anymore.
Shit,
right?
Even just that would be
like
good.
Essentially that makes every player of your game donate $5 to charity. Like that's so sick.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. I can't wait to force Link's Potter to contribute to charity through our games.
Oh my god, the dream. Anyway, you already said where people can find us, so I hope people will join next week for part 2 of this because I really enjoyed discussing this article with you, and I'll be excited to see what more data we have. I'm sure we'll get to the obscure weird shit moving forward. So,
yeah, I can't wait to find out like how many people have played a video game on a spaceship.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the venues. Hopefully they talk about venues. We'll see.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Jesse Shell. I hope Jesse Shell makes it big, man. He deserves it.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Or on streams randomly. Bye.